Good evening. I'm around 1 minute early. This is story time with Gina. I'm actually going to read a story again. And it's going to be Noah's Ark. Noah and the Ark. It's the biblical account. Now, there are numerous other accounts throughout history about a great deluge, a great flood that happened, and a different narrative. But I'm going to read this one right here, Noah and the Ark. It's retold by Jesse Lyman Hurlbut. Even today, every time they see a rainbow, millions of people are reminded of the story of how Noah's faith and righteousness saved him from the destruction of his generation. By the time that Adam died, there were many people on the earth, for the children of Adam and Eve had many other children. And when these grew up, they also had children. And these too had children. So after a time, that part of the earth where Adam's sons lived began to be full of people. It is said to tell that as time went on, more and more of these people became wicked, and fewer of them grew up to become good men and women. All of the people lived near together, and few went away to other lands. So it came to pass that even the children of good men and women learned to be bad, like the people around them. And as God looked down on the world that he made, he saw how wicked the men in it had become, and that every thought and every act of man was evil. And God looked down on the earth and said, I will take away all men from the earth that I have made, because the men of the world are evil, and evil continually. But even in those bad times, God saw one good man. His name was Noah. Noah tried to do right in the sight of God. As Enoch had walked with God, so Noah walked with God and talked with him. And Noah had 3 sons. Their names were Shem and Ham and Japheth. God said to Noah, the time has come when all the men and women on the earth are to be destroyed. Everyone must die, because they are all wicked. But you and your family shall be saved, because you alone are trying to do right. Then God told Noah how he might save his life and the lives of his family. He was to build a very large boat, as large as the largest ships that are made in our time, very long and very wide and very deep, with a roof over it, and made like a long, wide house in 3 stories, but so built that it would float on the water. Such a ship, this was called an ark. God told Noah to build this ark, and to have it ready for the time when he would need it. For, God said to Noah, I'm going to bring a great flood on the water on the earth, to cover all the land and drown all the people on the earth. And as the animals on the earth will be drowned with the people, you must make the ark large enough to hold a pair of each kind of animal, and several pair of some animals that are needed by men, like sheep and goats and oxen, so that there will be animals as well as men to live upon the earth after the flood has passed away. And you must take in the ark food for yourself and your family, and for all the animals with you, enough food to last for a year, while the flood shall stay on the earth. And Noah did what God told him to do. Although it must have been strange, very strange, to all the people around, to build this great ark where there was no water for it to sail upon. And it was a long time, even 120 years, that Noah and his sons were at work building the ark, while the wicked people around wondered and no doubt laughed at Noah for building a great ship where there was no sea. At last the ark was finished and stood like a great house on land. There was a door on one side and a window on the roof to let in the light. Then God said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and your wife, and your 3 sons and their wives with them, for the flood of waters will come very soon. And take with you all kinds of animals, birds, and things that creep, 7 pairs, that all kinds of animals may be kept alive upon the earth." So Noah and his wife and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, with their wives, went into the ark. And God brought things of all kinds, and they went into the ark, and Noah and his sons put them in their places, and brought food in for them all. And then the door of the ark was shut, so that no more people, no more animals could come in. In a few days, the rain began to fall, as it had never rained before. It seemed as though the heavens were open to pour great floods upon the earth. The streams filled, and the rivers rose higher and higher, and the ark began to float, and the rivers, it began to float on the water. The people left their houses and ran up to the hills. But soon the hills were covered, and all the people on them were drowned. Some had climbed up to the tops of the higher mountains, but the water rose higher and higher, until even the mountains were covered, and all the people, wicked as they had been, were drowned in the great sea that now rolled all over the earth where men had lived. And all the animals, the tame animals, the cattle and sheep and oxen were drowned. And the wild animals, the lions and tigers and all the rest were drowned also. Even the birds were drowned, for their nests and their trees were swept away, and there was no place where they could fly from the terrible storm. For 40 days and nights the rain kept on, until there was no breath of life remaining outside of the ark. After 40 days, the rain stopped, but the water stayed upon the earth for more than 6 months. And the ark, with all the water that were in it, floated over the great sea that covered the land. Then God sent a wind to blow over the waters and to dry them up. So by degrees the waters grew less and less. So, after waiting for a time, Noah opened a window and let loose a bird called a raven. Now the raven has strong wings, and this raven flew around and around until the waters had gone down, and it could not find a place to rest, and it did not come back to the ark. After Noah waited a while, he sent out a dove, but the dove could not find any place to rest, so it flew back to the ark. Noah took it into the ark again. Then Noah waited a week longer, and afterwards sent out the dove again. And at evening the dove came back to the ark, which was its home, and in its bill was a fresh leaf which it had picked off from an olive tree. So Noah knew that the water had gone down enough to let the trees grow once more. He waited another week and sent out the dove again, but this time the dove flew away and it never came back. And Noah knew that the earth was becoming dry again. And God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark with your wife and your sons and their wives and all the living things that are with you in the ark." So Noah opened the door of the ark, and with his family came out and stood once more on the ground. All the animals and birds and creeping things in the ark came out also, and began again to bring life to the earth. The first thing Noah did when he came out of the ark was to give thanks to God for saving all his family when the rest of the people on the earth were destroyed. He built an altar and laid upon it an offering to the Lord, and gave himself and his family to God, and promised to do God's will. And God was pleased with Noah's offering, and God said, "I will not again destroy the earth on account of men, no matter how bad they may be. From this time no flood shall again cover the earth, but the seasons of spring and summer and fall and winter shall remain without change. I give to you the earth. You shall be the rulers of the ground and of every living thing upon it." Then God caused a rainbow to appear in the sky, and he told Noah and his sons that whenever they or the people after them should see a rainbow, they should remember that God had placed it in the sky and over the clouds as a sign of his promise that he would always remember the earth and the people upon it, and would never again send a flood to destroy men from the earth. So, as often as we see the beautiful rainbow, we are to remember that it is the sign of God's promise to the world. So this was a story time with Gina from this book. It's the book of virtues. You got to have some virtues. And it's a rather pleasant thing to read. It is, with all that's going on in the world. It's nice to have a nice bedtime story. It is a story time, something that your children can even listen to, and you. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen, and thank you for your comments. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and